Need to flatten this out a tad. It's just a little bit too steep an angle, and to do that I'm going to use the power of the gut. G'day, I'm Pete and you're watching Feral Fabrications. The day has finally come, the Capri's going back on its wheels. So, we're going to install this front cross member. It's been a long time coming. If you're interested in how I made these panels originally, I'll chuck the videos up so you can go and have a look. But today we're going to be installing them in the car. Before I do that, I've just got to make a strengthening plate that sits in the back of this. This is where the sway bar mount bracket bolts up to. So there's a plate with some captive nuts in there that I need to make. The old ones were scrap. Right, I'm really pleased that this day has finally come, so let's just get stuck in. These are some reinforcing plates that sit in this area here, and that's because that's where the front sway bar brackets mount to. This is just an old one. So these just bolt up like that, you know, in line with the frame rail coming down here, because those are the frame rail bolts. And they've got to have the strengthening plate just sits in the back of the cross member like that. So you can see that tab just gets spot welded into the car as well, and that plate just bolts up. This has some captive nuts on it to receive the 2 bolts from this. So that's what we need to make. Time to mark these out on a bit of cardboard. I'm just going to mark one template and I'll use it to make both. They're actually slightly off square, just because that's the way the pressing is, and so I have to make a mirror image. I can just do the one template and do the folds in the reverse direction. Once we've done that, we will get to fitting this in the car. Look at that, not bad. So I've marked out a bunch of places where I'm going to do plug welds to get this back in the car. Got like up the top, into the side, down the bottom as well. Now, just before I do that, I'm going to bolt my brackets in properly. I've got new hardware for those. We'll get those bolted in and then we'll actually bolt the bracket to the cross member, because that, I don't want to have that misaligned and then try and like wind it into place, because it'll just pull the metal around and distort everything. So I want to bolt this to the bracket, then I'll drill through into the car, put screws through there to hold that into place, and then I'll have a good mark of exactly where this needs to go, referenced off the old brackets, because those bolt holes, they never changed or anything, and the brackets are in good shape. They're not bent or twisted, so that'll get this metal bang in the right spot. Useful tip if you're just using it for fit up like we are, just taking it on and off a few times. Don't just get your nylock and wind that on and off a bunch of times. Use the normal nut as well. Then when you go to do your final fitment, use your nylock, and then you haven't worn it out. There we go, brackets are in place. Now I'm actually going to have to make a packer just to sit here. I think the original piece had like a little step in it, so that it come along and then stepped out, so it was all flush along the front. That'd be pretty difficult to actually do, so I'm just going to put a packer in here
It's not actually changing the position of the metal because it's still only used to come to this point, but it's just a simple way of doing it. And a little bit of extra reinforcement in the old race car ain't going to hurt, so we'll do a packer here. I may actually weld it to the cross member in a few spots, and it'll be a simple rectangle. So go and cut me 2 of them. So that's my wee spacer just test fitted. Looks good, so I'm going to carry on now. We'll have a wee go getting this in its final spot now. Looking pretty good. Popped down to Super Cheap Auto and got a couple of these welding clamp pliers. 2 for 25 bucks. Should help things. Alright, I got it clamped in. Just get access through these holes, which is quite good. So I've just clamped the sheet metal to the brackets so I can mark the holes. I'll show you the other side. Yeah, nothing rocket science. I left my packer in there so I didn't clamp it over too far. But it's sitting in there pretty good, and clamped it from the top as well to get it all the way up. So now I can mark these 2 holes. Okay, so I got all the holes done for the plug welds. Plug welds done for the sides here, and also the tabs as well. That's it's ready for paint for now. I'll paint both at the same time. Alright, I do believe I'm ready to start putting some of these plug welds in, so we'll go down here and along here first, and then we can also put our reinforcing plates on. You can see the outline of those, so but I've got to get these plug welds in first. Let's get the welder out. I'm not going to film that, so I'll just jump back to once it's done. See all the plug welds there into the end of the chassis rail and into the top as well, so they're going okay. Certainly a lot of spatter with the zinc paint, but it's just one of those things. Trying to do a bit of corrosion protection. So I've got to grind those ones flat so I can put the reinforcing plate on and then plug weld that in. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm just screwed in. So think of what I'm going to do is do this side, then fit the front. Check that fits, and then we'll start plug welding all the sides and everything. Sitting nice and flat, hard up against the side, so I won't bother putting any screws in that one. So let's just have a look at this front piece now. Yeah, so just look at this. We'll definitely get it all in now. All I did was just fold this bottom edge down a little bit, so I think if anything I might need to just try and flatten this, like not have quite so much of a bend here. The piece, it's like it's too short, so that'll just open it up ever so slightly. You know, we're not talking much, a couple of mil. So just probably just do that by hand. You know, just push it down on the bench a wee bit, give it a wee tweak. Right, I'm going to go ahead and weld all of this in now. This side's sitting probably 2 millimeters lower than the other, so I'll just tweak it up a tiny bit on this side, but the rest of it I'm happy with. Done a couple of small beads to hold those spaces in so they don't fall out and be annoying. Those sides, so brackets are all bolted in properly. Happy with where they're sitting. So the next thing to do is just to weld those nuts on, because like I say, you can't get to those once you put the front on. Go, just a little weld around the bottom where I can get to. Some paint, and let's get the front on this thing. Just need to flatten this out a tad. It's just a little bit too steep an angle. And to do that, I'm going to use power of the gut. Right, I think that should do it. It's all cleaned up, ready to get the front mounted. Boom. This is ready for some more welding. I'm going to weld along the bottom here, then I'll probably take all these clamps off, put a couple of screws on the side. But I've just got it sort of held up nice and proper on the ends. make sure it's not sitting low, so it's pretty good. Reasonably happy with how this is turning out, so rightio, let's get welding. So that's without any tidy up work at all. I'll give it a wee wire buffing. The odd one splooged out on me, you know, paint and everything. You try your best to get it all clean, but you know, you get the odd gobule. But you know, all of them are pretty clean. So, pretty happy with it, really. That is the new cross member in. Oh, I'm pretty happy about that, eh? That was a lot of rust work. The brackets were stuffed up around the bumper mounts. Did all that, patches on both sides, in and out of guards. Replaced the whole cross member, replaced the radiator panels, you know. That was a lot of work. But definitely looking pretty good now, so. All worth it in the end, eh? Be worth it if I get her back out racing again, so. Give her a bit of a tidy up and a flick of paint. And just in case you're wondering, yeah, it's pretty hot work. Sway bars in. Just use the jack just to push it forward into position and just to make it really easy to get the bolts in. Here's what she looks like with a quick look at paint. Not bad, not bad. Pretty happy with that. Swing. Oh, I've got water dripping out on the radiator. Out of the engine rather. Right, there we have it, back on its wheels. Bloody awesome. So, under no illusions that it's not going to have to get jacked back up again, but my plan is just to get it outside and give the whole thing a good wash. Gave it a good clean before I started this, but she gets pretty dusty in here, so time to get it outside and give it a clean. So there we have it, it's back on its wheels. Finally, I'm stoked. Just really pleased to get that finished. So I can push it outside, give it a good clean off and get it nice and tidy again. So just pleased about that, to be honest. The next work coming up is going to be really nice clean work. You know, we're going to do a nice radiator mount to fit a new radiator in there. I haven't quite decided exactly what size to go for yet. We can jack the back up now so I can get underneath the back and put those gas adjustable shocks in. As well as we've got a Feral Fabrications special coming up. So you should definitely hit subscribe so you don't miss that. We're going to be travelling from the North Island to the South Island and I'm not giving you any more than that. So that's it from me for this one. Thanks for watching.